Okay, hi guys and welcome to the show. And behind me is an art deco icon because it's related to my very first Longines. So let's roll the intro and get into it. This summer, in 2025, I co-hosted the first watch event ever held at the new flagship Longines store in NYC. This inaugural get-together was obviously a tremendous honor for me and the Gentry crew. To be completely honest, I kind of caught the Longines bug. Not to mention seeing some of the utterly meraviglioso unicorn examples, especially brought from the Longines Museum in Switzerland, which actually remains on my bucket list for a future visit, hopefully one day. So after the event, I rushed home, started stalking Longines watches on eBay. I came across this heavenly creature, pulled the trigger immediately. It was really that simple. Love at first sight. Pure class. Quick knife check. The lion steel there. Beautiful titanium watch. Not watch. Titanium knife. Fatto in Italia. Actually where I grew up, no less, in northern Italy. And I believe, yeah, this is the original box. So yeah, Longines. How it was back in the day. There you go. So that's the original box. Beautiful. Velvet, very luxurious. Some of the medallions that they won for chronometer competitions and stuff and the like. So very, very, very cool. Love that red. That's definitely one of my favorite colors. Let's do the drum roll. Oh, look at that. Ooh, beautiful strap too. Wow, look at that. So this is a 1950s piece. Let's zoom in. Look at that dial. Look at the structure. Look at the layering. Wow, applied numerals, specially shaped glass. Very Art Deco, which is surprising because the 1950s had already moved into this kind of googie futurism. Manual wind. Ooh, that does feel good. That does feel good. Yeah, Longines. So this is the original buckle. Never seen that. Gold inlay or gold in the loop of the strap. That is extraordinary. I've never seen that before. God, very supple. Surprising it hasn't disintegrated. So yeah, 14 karat stamped there. I mean, this is real old money, this style, not that manufactured hype stuff that I've railed against in my in my gentleman video. How to be a gentleman, or how they're all wrong. I'll leave a link there. But Cary Grant, North by Northwest style. Ragazzi, che stile, che classe. Very cool. Let's give it 24 hours and see how it wears. The movement inside tells a fascinating story that is another prime example of why Longines as a brand matters so largely in horological history. The Longines caliber 23Z was first produced in the autumn of 1948. At this time, almost half of Longines production was sold in the USA. This inevitably had an enormous influence over what was manufactured in the legendary Swiss Saint-Imier-based factory. And this is something vital to remember, especially in understanding this particular watch's significance, which we will return to later. So back to the caliber. The 23Z and all its variants are massively historically crucial for two reasons. Firstly, it's one of only a handful of movements by any Swiss watchmaker to have been created in the immediate post-World War II period. Naturally, Europe had been economically devastated by conflict, and even the big boy brands were reluctant to spend large sums on both research and the development of machinery needed for entire new calibers. Longines spent 20,000 Swiss francs on R&D for the 23Z, and then another 25,000 for the tooling alone to enable them to produce it on a commercial scale. Adjusted for inflation, this is millions in today's money. One of their biggest rivals, Omega, was also in this handful of Swiss watchmakers releasing new movements in this austerity-stricken period. In fact, we've discussed before in several videos them doing something very similar with their own battle-proven 30T2 manual wind movement, a progenitor of what would evolve into the automatic antecedents powering almost all the first pre-diver Seamasters around the time, the backbone of their mechanical success until the 1970s. Which brings us to the second reason for the Longines caliber's importance. In technical terms, the 23Z was at the very cutting edge of tech for its period. It was fitted with a shock-resistant system and anti-magnetic protection. Both of these concepts, just like in the Omega 32T, had been refined dramatically during the war as a consequence of research carried out on behalf of the Allied governments. They were then applied to a movement that had been intended from the outset as a luxury product for the civilian market rather than military service. As the great Jonathan Meades illustrates, this is nothing new.
Surgical advances, prosthetics, transport, fabrics, prefabricated structures like the Bailey Bridge and the Mulberry Harbour, chronometry, food substitutes other than human flesh, remote control, space travel, road technology, telecommunication systems, remote control cinematography.
Unfortunately, almost all advances technologically are typically motivated for that martial need for ape to kill ape. So the negatives are, well, twofold. First of all, the inherent fragility that comes with a watch of this era. The softer gold material, the very particular crystal, a bit of a worry. However, Moya Fine Jewelers, they're an AD for Longines and they've serviced many of my watches. Knowing that I have that connection through them, who I personally hire and I trust, does give me some assurance. The second big negative is obviously that period correct scale. Insecure man babies out there that will say, oh, it's a woman's watch, or who equate smaller watches with their micro appendages, shall we say. Those insecure males out there, they're not going to be man enough to wear a watch this small. And for the majority of watch history, they have been this small. In fact, actually, it's not that too dissimilar from the scale of my Santos Gal B. So men were wearing watches this scale all the way up into the 80s, well into the 90s. Jokes aside, you've got to wear a watch that you're comfortable with, and that is relative to you. But obviously, it's going to be too small for a lot of you out there. This watch, despite looking like it should be part of the slightly cringeante named Dolce Vita line, simply isn't. That line, incidentally, was created in 1997, inspired by the real Art Deco timepieces of the 1920s. But I suspect more to cash in on the Princess Diana Cartier tank trend of that time. And trust me, I should know, most of my family have them for the very same reasons. So if Deco was essentially well and truly dead by the 1950s, why is this watch so staunchly and imperiously styled in this way? It is unbelievably cold, but I thought I'd come to the city because there's so many amazing Art Deco icons here, and where better than to demonstrate this watch.
These structures challenge the gods. They're monuments to mankind's supremacy. They're supremely optimistic, supremely confident, supremely hubristic. And to be filled with ostentatious earnest and grandiose exaltation, this was a near-sacred project undertaken with the utmost gravity.
Well, Art Deco, despite its often frivolous themes, lacked ideological loyalties in the lead-up to and during wartime. Deco was internationally seen as a celebration of the machine age, and thus the superiority of mankind's mechanics over nature, hence all the reassuring symmetry, angular aggression, and supercilious straight lines. A rejection of the hallucinogenic, organic-dominated bucolic nightmare fuel that is Art Nouveau, which preceded Deco, of course. And there's nothing I quite loathe more, aside from Rococo, than Art Nouveau. Thankfully, it was hardly ever weaponized as a fascist, Nazi, or Japanese imperial aesthetic, so this apolitical stance enabled it to comfortably coexist within any host ideology, regime, or nation worldwide. That old money association of Deco is what makes it so classy. In a certain regard, is what makes a lot of the watches from modern AP, modern Patek, modern Rolex, and all the rest of them, they've become appropriated, bastardized, prostituted, commandeered into status signaling, flexing, the kind of new money vulgarity. I can't even think of any modern Deco-inspired designs they do. I mean, I think Patek has the gondola. I don't even know if they still make that. Rolex has the Cellini, which no one ever talks about. I guess is the closest thing to a Rolex similar to this. And of course it's an acquired taste, but I love it. Thankfully, Longines has not been polluted by that flexing, commodity-driven vulgarity, the new money, you know, all that associations. And I really like that. I don't buy watches to show off. The only person I'm trying to impress is myself. I've always preached that, and I believe that should be the key reason for buying any watch, right? It's got to make you happy. I mean, I look down at this and I feel something. That's what's most important. But anyway, each to their own, right?
Quando due elementi sono in lotta e sono irriducibili, l'unica soluzione è nella forza. Non c'è mai stata altra soluzione nella storia e non ci sarà mai.
In fascist Italy, Art Deco design became the perfect middle ground between the bellezza of radical modernist futurism and the neo-traditionalism before it. While in the UK and USA, as Jeeves and Wooster would so perfectly encapsulate, it became the universal go-to in vogue style of the Gatsbyan aristo elites.
No more champagne. No, I want to go home.
A connotation that has forever imbued Deco to this very day with that unmistakable whiff of old money sophistication.
What time is it? Just before 1 o'clock, sir. What?
Hence the cringy dolce vita marketing of past decades, I guess. The post-war, mid-century modern-dominated United States of the 1950s and 60s was the biggest Longines market at the time, as we explained before. Therefore, this more traditional interpretation of modernism with Deco was still seen as a restrained expression of the future, compared to the often outlandish googie kitsch exuberance that was literally taking off during this hubristic new jet age. Just compare it to a Hamilton Ventura, Boulevard Accutron, Spaceview, or an AP Disco Volante, for that matter, and you will see exactly what I mean. It almost seems quite conservative and old-fashioned in comparison. But you know how it goes. Real class is timeless. Alright guys, I'm going to leave it there. Obviously you could tell by my face I am chuffed to bits. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Any particular models caught your eye? Please do share that good stuff in the comments. I love hearing your feedback. I'll catch you in the next one. Onwards and upwards. Don't forget to like this video. It's the best way to support free and truly independent content like this. Thank you for watching. Ciao. Are you obsessed with watches? Do you like to travel and need to take a few timepieces on your adventures? Maybe you're fed up with cheap imitation leather that falls apart, embarrassing you in front of your watch enthusiast friends. Well, you don't have to look like a cretinous fool any longer, because here at Gentry Labs, we've teamed up with Germany's finest watch strap maker to bring you the perfect watch case. By offering our expertly handmade products straight from the factory to your pocket, we cut out the middleman. therefore undermining capitalism itself. Just like a classic vintage watch, it will patina, adding character the more you use it. This is due to the sumptuously premium calf leather from the Palinga tannery. Yes, stroke it real good, and you will see exactly what I mean. Expertly stitched to last lifetimes, this handcrafted case is compact enough for your pocket, but still large enough to protect 2 watches. We even added an external pocket for extra tools or straps. The metal reinforced latch system is secure and designed in a way not to open accidentally when you take it out of your pocket. Because the last thing you want is that expensive Grail watch that almost caused you a divorce falling out and hitting the floor. Each watch is then tested for robustness by our very own Shakespearean-trained celebrity star of everyone's favorite dinosaur franchise. Yes, that's right, even the terrible sequels. If it can survive those teeth, it can handle anything. The luxurious Alcantara interior is soft, supple and ideal for protecting delicate surfaces. The padded inner section can be used to wrap a watch around too, so the bracelet does not scratch itself when stored. Luxury quality but affordably priced, and free of any tacky designer branding that makes you look like you are desperately lacking your own identity. A classically elegant traditional style that reeks of old money. The perfect upgrade or gift for any EDC. And remember, if it's not by Gentry Labs, it sucks. So don't suck. Buy it now. I'm Hugo Mountbatten, and I approve of this message. Well, as long as the check clears.